All right, friends. It looks like we are live. I have my computer over here. I've got my camera over here. I've got my Plying set up here. And I'll move the mic out of the way. Hopefully, you all can hear me okay. I have a little bit of a different setup than last time, but I think this should go better than last time. Last time we had a little bit of an audio issue where my what I was saying uh, kept fading out. So hopefully that doesn't happen this time. Um, and I hope that you enjoy sitting and crafting with me. I have a bunch of singles that I have spun over several years of spinning, and my goal today is just to work through some of them. I have this whole bin, which is full. Between this and what I have out on my desk is full, so it's time to do some plying. So I hope that you're having a great time. If you're here on the replay, settle in for a fun time, and we're just gonna get straight to spinning. So I've got some odds and ends. I've got some different projects, and we're just gonna go ahead and get to spinning. If anyone tunes in, feel free to say hi in the chat. And I will just be sitting here doing some crafting for probably the next hour or so. So I hope that somebody tunes in to hang out with me. So I've just got my singles here. I'm just going to do a basic 2-ply with most of my yarn. Got it through the leader thread here. And then I'm going to just start adding some twist. Some Romney singles. Romney is one of my favorite breeds of sheep. It's a medium wool, a little bit on the coarser side, but I think it's pretty fantastic. It's a nice, durable, a little bit crunchy, and very very fun to spin. It's not necessarily next to skin soft. It's a little bit more of an outerwear type of thing, but I still like it. It's one of my favorites. This and Blue-Faced Leicester and maybe Finn, but I have a lot of favorites. And then I'm gonna occasionally stop my wheel and move the guide here for the yarn and get back to adding some twist. My dog is here with me. He's snoozing on his bed, just passed out. He always gets in the funniest positions when he sleeps. So he's half on his side, half on his back, with his ears up. His ears usually aren't up. And he's just hanging out, snoring a little bit, doing a couple twitches, and keeping me company. So I find this pretty meditative. It's a little bit rhythmic, and you have to kind of take your time, but it's fine. You just need to be in the right kind of headspace for it. Usually I'll watch something or listen to something while I do this, but not today because I'm doing a live stream with you guys. I'm planning on doing these live streams probably once a week moving forward. I put up a poll on my community tab asking what day people preferred, and everybody on YouTube was saying Wednesday afternoon, which is why I'm here Wednesday afternoon. But there's nobody hanging out with me, which is fine. This is something that I have to get done regardless. I see someone's in the chat. If you want to say hi, feel free to say hi. I'm just sitting here doing some plying, hanging out with my dog, and just adding some twist. So I've got, I think maybe after I do this Romney, I'll skip to some of my colorful stuff. So I think that'll be a little bit more fun to do than just this gray. Typically I like to play with colors when possible. So I guess I'll talk about how plying works. So when you ply, you want to go in the opposite direction than you've been spinning. That is just the recipe for making yarn. Typically you spin clockwise and ply counterclockwise, which is what I'm doing today. And you want to control the twist. So I could either slide my hand back like I've been doing, like I'm doing right here, or I can just make sure this is all lined up and then let the twist in. But I prefer to do it gradually and slide my fingers down the length of the yarn. I think that gives me a little bit more control and a little bit more confidence in how much twist I'm adding. I tend to not add enough twist to my spun or my plied yarn. I have a tendency to have very underplied yarn. So I try to pay attention to that as much as I can so that I don't end up with a yarn I don't love. Because I've had yarns that I'm like, oh, I don't even want to work with this because there's not enough twist in the plied yarn. If you're watching this on the replay, I guess I will ask that you give this a thumbs up if you enjoy it. Leave a comment if you are so inclined or you have any advice or suggestions for future live streams, because I'm going to have to figure out what I want to do kind of on a regular basis with these. If I'm going to be doing them every week, I really need to come up with kind of a pretty good list of what I'm going to be doing, because I think if I just always plied on the live streams, that would get a little bit repetitive. So let me know if you have any suggestions, or if you would like to meet at a different time, or anything like that. Just leave a comment down below and I will get back to you, because I like sharing what I'm doing with my friends out there in the world. So yeah, just let me know if you have any suggestions or anything like that. And then if you want to see more videos like this, you can go ahead and hit the subscribe button. and then you will be notified, or I guess you have to hit the bell if you want to be notified, but then you'll be at least a little bit aware of when new videos come out. I am currently posting videos every Monday and Friday with a live stream on Wednesdays. So I've run out of one of my balls of yarn, so I'm just going to go ahead and attach the next one. Just letting the twist into the fiber or into the yarn. There we go. Nice seamless join. I was hoping more people would be here, so I had somebody to talk to. Because I kind of just feel like I'm rambling to myself at this point. But I said I was going to stick around for an hour, and that's what I'm going to do, just in case somebody can't make it right at the beginning, but they'll be around later. Oh, Bear's still snoring. It's a very sleepy dog. I don't have a ton more to say about the flying process. It's pretty, once you kind of get into it, you just keep doing the same rhythm. And just do that until your bobbin's full or you're out of singles. So that's what I'm doing with this gray Romney yarn. I think I have a whole fleece of this fiber that I don't think I have finished spinning. So I'm going to have to set this aside and make sure it doesn't get separated from that whole collection of fiber. So I like to keep that stuff together. So let's see. The video that I'm planning on having coming out on Friday is going to be a cooking video or a baking video. I have a cookie recipe that I want to share with you. It's not my recipe, but I make these cookies and then freeze the dough. And what that means is that whenever I want a freshly baked cookie, I just pull out a ball of dough from the freezer, put it on a cookie sheet, bake it, and then I have some freshly made cookies, which is always exciting. So that's what Friday's video is going to be. I haven't decided what the next week's videos are going to be looking like, but I have some ideas. I have some good ideas. Lots and lots of ideas. I just need to come up with the time and energy to get stuff done. I'm sure you know how that is. So I'm just sitting here plying. It's pretty peaceful. Just the whir of my machine as I sit here and let the twist back into my singles that I spun probably years ago at this point. I don't know when I spun these, but it's definitely been more than a year. That's okay. They just sit in my Ply Me bin until I have a day like today where I'm like, all right, I'm going to tackle this project and get that plying done. All right. So I think we're getting close to the end of this gray. And I think after I'm done with that, I'm going to make a crazy skein. I'll show you what that looks like when I get there, because it's kind of hard to describe. But pretty much I'm going to be taking a bunch of colorful singles from a bunch of different yarns that I've spun over the years and just ply them all together and make a crazy yarn. It's going to be inconsistent yarn weight. It's going to be inconsistent color and probably texture too. And I'm just going to ply it all together, and then I'll have a really fun, chaotic yarn that I can do something fun with at some point. Or maybe I'll just make a bunch of mini skeins. But the problem with that is that there's not so much you can do with a really, really small skein of yarn. So I think if I make a mishmash skein, that might be better. Hi, if somebody popped on, wants to say hi and have a little chat, feel free to pop into the comments. I'm just sitting here and spinning away, and they're gone. I'm not gonna lie, I'm feeling a little bit discouraged right now. The empty chat is making me a little sad because I'm not really sure what to do, if I should leave or stick around a little bit longer and hope somebody tunes in, because I'm feeling a little lonely. And I mean, this isn't the most engaging thing to be doing. I understand that. I'm just, if there's someone to talk to, it's one thing, but otherwise I think I might just go watch something if nobody wants to hang out with me. But I don't want to make this a bummer of a video, because I'm going to leave it up. So sorry about that, I guess. I just trying to be transparent with you, I guess. So I'm just flying away, adding in some twist, letting it back into my yarn supply. I am on to my final ball of yarn. It's a center pull ball, so I'm pulling from both the inside and the outside, so I don't have any leftovers. And I'm getting close to being done with this color, which is pretty exciting. Just letting that twist in, progressing the yarn guide, and getting back to it. Yeah, I think I had bigger aspirations for today than maybe were realistic, but that's okay. I still have a pretty young channel. I'm still figuring this out. So if people don't want to watch live streams with me, then that's okay. I will just get back to my twice a week videos and just do that. And if you're watching this on the replay and you would like to be notified of live streams, then you can hit the little bell next to the subscribe button, and you can set up your notifications so that you are notified if a new video or a live video starts. Getting close. This is how much we have left. Before we get to change colors. And if there were people in the chat, I'd be like, ooh, which color should we do next? And give you some options to choose from. But it's just me here, so I have to choose by myself. But I'll still talk you through what I'm thinking. I don't have any big plans for the rest of today. My parents are coming home. They've been out of town, and so I'm excited to see them. That'll be nice. But I don't have any anything I'm really doing the rest of the day. Just crafting, just hanging out, doing some crafting. See somebody's in the chat. If you want to tune in and chat with me, just get in the chat box, and I would be happy to chat. I'm a little lonely right now because there's nobody here. But just talking to myself, rambling away as I ply some yarn. If you have any questions or comments, just let me know. Once we're done with this little bit, I've only got a little bit left. We're going to be switching to some pretty colors. So if you would like to make a request for what color we do next, just let me know. Got some purple, I've got some pink, some reddish. So just let me know what you're thinking. We can get some more stuff plied up. That's the goal of today, is just to get some plying done. Oh, hi, Jen. I'm glad you're here. Just flying away. That's pretty much what I'm doing. Got my dog next to me on his bed, but he's passed out sleeping. He's a very sleepy dog. That's what he does most of the time, is sleep. Which, if that's not the life, I don't know what is. So I'm just wrapping up this color, and then we can get on to something a little bit prettier, which should be fantastic. How are you doing today, Jen? I was just talking about my plans for the rest of the day. My parents are coming back from out of town, and I'm excited to chat with them. Have I decided what I'm going to make with this yarn? So this yarn is just kind of some scraps of singles that I have plied. So I'm just finishing yarn, and then it'll go in my bag of scraps, which are for eventual scrappy projects of, I've got some that are thicker yarns and some that are thinner yarns, and so I kind of group those together based on yarn weight, so that when I'm doing a scrappy project, I have lots of colors and lots of options to choose from. Hopefully that made sense. So I don't have a big plan for this. It's just going to be going in my scrap pile. I'm doing okay, Jen. I was feeling a little bit sad earlier because I was the only person here and nobody was wanting to stick around with me. So I'm glad you turned up. All right, so we are done with this color. So now it's time to think about what's next. I think I'm going to start playing with this because this has some fun colors, and then I'm going to apply it with some of this brown, I think. So I was mentioning earlier, I'm just making a kooky, crazy yarn that has a little bit of every color in it. And that's just so I have a little bit more yardage of my scraps. Actually, I'm going to apply this with this purple. I think that'll look a lot prettier. Just need to find the end of both of these. If I can. All right, there's one end, and then there's the other end, and then we'll get to plying. So because this was a center pull ball, it's just got a loop here at the end. So I'm going to take my two singles and pass the end of them through that loop, and then I'm going to start adding some twist. I think scrap yarns have a lot of uses. I made 2 crochet blankets last year. That's very impressive, Jen. I make some blankets, but I find that I get bored of projects if they're that big. Even a sweater is pretty. If I'm not really a fan of it, I get bored. Which is why it's good to have so many projects going at once. Even if they're only a single bed-sized blanket, that's still pretty impressive, Jen. Definitely nothing to, oh, what's the phrase? Certainly something to be proud of. It's quite the accomplishment. The blankets I make are just kind of lap blankets because, again, I get bored. Except for I made this one really, really big crochet granny square blanket. You're welcome for the compliment. Just trying to spread that love around. I made this one really big granny square blanket with pretty thick yarn and like a size 6 or 6.5 millimeter crochet hook. And that I really liked. I wasn't great at weaving in ends, so I've had to do some repairs on that blanket to make sure it stays usable and in good condition and doesn't fall apart on me. but it's really pretty. It's in a bunch of natural brown colors with stripes and stuff. It's quite pretty. The yarn that I'm adding ply twist to right now is very fine and maybe has a little bit too much twist in the singles, and it is requiring a lot of twist to make a balanced yarn. I don't know what I'm going to do with it because this is very fine, but I'll come up with something. I always do. Hey Jen, can you tell me how the audio sounds? I'm working with this microphone here for the first time, and I'm curious if it sounds good or if it needs to be, if I need to upgrade to a nicer one. So if you could let me know, I would appreciate it. But yeah, I'm just sitting here, plying away. Oh, my audio sounds perfect. I like the sound of that. That makes me happy. I'm using a external webcam that's not on my computer. And the picture is a lot better than last time too. At least I think it is. I think it looks a lot nicer. I know I keep looking over here as opposed to over here, but that's just because that's where I have my computer set up and I'm trying to keep track of the comments. Oh, Bear just rolled onto his back. He's being a cutie. He excels at that. Very good at being a cutie. Thinking about making a whole video just dedicated to Bear. But I'm not sure what I'm going to put in it to really flesh it out and make it a fun video. But I think he's worthy of his own video. He's a very good dog. I tried to use my phone for recording the live videos, and it wasn't working for me. I think it wants to be on a computer, which is fine. Make do. I record most of the videos on my phone because the camera quality on that is really good, and I can get a variety of shots and angles and stuff. But I think for the live, I have to use a computer. I could be wrong about that. I'm still pretty new at this, but I was having a hard time trying to start it on my phone last time. So I think it's only on the computer. Got some sparkles in this yarn. Makes me so happy. I love those little spots of color and brightness and I guess light. Oh, hi Alex. Nice to see you here too. Ooh, someone's sending party emojis, which is very cute. So yeah, I'm just sitting here plying away. chatting with some of my friends, having a nice time. And Bear is just passed out, sleeping. Your videos look great. I wouldn't have known that you were using your phone. Thank you, Jen. I think at some point I would like to upgrade to an actual professional camera, but at least for now, this this setup works and is a little bit cheaper than investing in something right now. I was just about to ask how Bear was doing. I've been mentioning it every so often, trying to come up with something to say for this point. 36 minutes is a little bit difficult. So I'm definitely rambling a little bit, but that's okay. The mic pickup sounds good too. Yeah, I asked Jen and she said it sounded perfect. So I'm glad that the audio and visual is a little bit better than last time. So I was concerned about that and wanted to make sure that everything looked and sounded a little bit better than that last live video I did. I know you can't really see the colors on the bobbin right now, but we've got some purple and some blue and some like mossy forest green, which is all working together very nicely. I'm very happy with it. I think this is going to be a very fun scrap of yarn for some kind of scrappy project. I have to think about what I want it to be. Probably a blanket, just because I find that's what's best for scrappy projects. Garments tends to not look as good with scrappy projects, in my opinion. But that doesn't mean I won't change my mind and do it anyway. I might make a garment. We'll have to wait and see. But I've got a whole big bag behind me that's just full of my scraps and my small pieces of yarn. And I'm just saving them for when an idea strikes me or when I see a pattern that I decide I have to make that involves scraps. Colors sound amazing. They're pretty nice. I just got some bright blue, which I think you can actually see on the camera, which looks pretty good. I got some yellow flecks in here as well, and with the purple. And it looks like we might be progressing into some different colors in the cake, because I have these center pole wound balls that I'm just putting in my yarn holder, my yarn bowl. And this one, you see there's got some grays in the center of that. And this right now is pretty green, but it's got some purples underneath. Trying to think of what other lives I should do. Because I feel like spinning and plying aren't necessarily the most interesting thing to watch. I guess the point of doing a live is so that we can kind of hang out together. But I feel like me sitting here and plying is not the most engaging thing for somebody to come across. I want it to be a little bit more engaging, I think. Maybe carding rollags or something like that. Maybe sitting and knitting, but that's got the same problem with spinning and plying, where it's kind of slow and not as interesting as what some people do on live videos. We're hitting some gray in this plying. Makes a really fun barber pulled yarn. How did I get started spinning? That's a good question. So I started spinning back in 2012, I think. Yeah, 2012. And I started spinning because I was really into dog training. And you might be confused as to why that connection was made, but I was very into dog training, and I was very into working dogs, including sheep herding breeds. And I had a family friend who I mentioned that to, and she was like, "Well, if you're gonna raise animals, you should learn how to spin." And I was already knitting at the time, so I already was pretty into crafts. And she offered me the use of her spinning wheel, which was not a great spinning wheel. It was very generous of her to lend it to me, and I'm very appreciative of that. But it was a bit of a difficult wheel to learn on. So I had some struggles with that. But about a year later, I bought this wheel, the Lendrum, and that was a lot easier to work with, and I kind of took off from there. And then I think early 2019, I bought this spinning wheel, the Hanson E-Spinner, which has really increased my ability to spin more efficiently, because I can speed it up a lot more than is easy to do with a treadle wheel. Hopefully that made sense. Thank you for asking that question. That was a fantastic question. See, we've still got somebody hanging out. What are you up to? Are you crafting with me, or are you kind of doing something different? Or are you just hanging out? All right. We have reached the end of one of these balls. So I have to pick a new color. And I've still got a fair bit of this purple and green left. So I think we'll pull out some more purple to play with. Yeah, it's just you, Alex. Looks like Jen popped out and had somewhere else to be. Trying to decide what color to play with next. I think we'll do some of this. It's pretty purple. Just hanging out, Jen. That's nice. I am happy to have you hanging out with me. That is fantastic. So I'm just getting to the end of this. I'm going to lay my new single alongside the two existing strands and then let the twist in. And just like that, I have a seamless join. You can't even tell, well, you can kind of tell, but you can barely tell that that was 3 different yarns. Jen is still here. For some reason in my chat, it says there's only 1 person. So I'm a little bit confused about that, but I'm glad that you're both here. I'm very, very happy to have company. The first like 15 or 20 minutes were a little bit lonely. Is this a good time for you, Jen? I know that you're in the UK, so I don't know what time it is where you are right now. But I think right after lunch, which is what it is for me right now, it's 1:45 in the afternoon. So I started this a little bit after lunch, which is a good time for me. But I want to make sure it's a good time for other people too. Oh, that's looking really pretty. So these 2 plies are making a really, really dark purple. It's working up really pretty. I'm very happy with it. And again, this is just going to be scraps for some sort of scrappy knitting or crochet project, or maybe weaving. But I'm still happy with how pretty it's turning out. $6:45 there, not long since you've had tea. All right, so it's a pretty good time. A little bit later in the day, but as long as you're not, in the midst of dinner or something, I think that should work. So you can tune in again. If you enjoy this, of course, you don't have to tune in if you're not interested. But it is certainly more enjoyable for me when I have company. A little bit easier to make conversation. I'm not just making conversation with myself. But I think next time I'm going to put the camera above where my computer is so that it actually looks like I'm looking at you when I'm looking at the chat. That's okay. We're just figuring it out today. Figuring out how we want things to work, kind of as I start this YouTube live schedule. And I think as we do it more often and build community, it'll only improve. All right, we're getting to the end of another ball of yarn. I see which one I'm going to grab next. So it won't be a hard decision to make. I am getting a little bit tangled here at the end of this. So I'm going to slow my wheel down. See if I can fix this. It's because these singles didn't have quite enough twist in them, so they're kind of frayed, and yeah, I think I might just have to break that. Yeah. So I'm just gonna toss this. It's not really enough to be of use, and it's very underspun, so it's not holding together very well. So I'm just gonna set that aside and grab our next ball of yarn. All right, and then we're gonna lay that single over the existing singles. We'll let that twist in, and we've got another invisible join. I do love, it's very satisfying to make those. Now we've got that purple and green with a little bit of a lighter purple, which we're just plying together and making another thin yarn. I think I must have been going through a phase where I was spinning as thin of a yarn as I could and didn't really know what to do with those singles once I had spun them. So I just put them in these bags or in this bin. I'm finally getting to them now, years later. Let's see. I've got a video, Jen, coming out on Friday. That's going to be a baking video, sharing my favorite cookie recipe and how I make it, which I think will be a fun video. It's a little bit different since it won't be about crafting. But isn't baking kind of like edible crafting? Make something and then you get to eat it. So I'm excited for that. It's going to be a little bit different, but I think it'll still be a fun video. And then I've got 2 more I'm working on, but I haven't finished filming them yet. So it's going to be not until next week that those are going to be ready, which is fine. Get a little bit ahead of schedule, which I'm excited for. I like to have a little bit of a buffer so that if I'm not feeling like crafting or if I'm having a bad mental health week, I don't need to stress. That sounds interesting. I think baking is a craft. Thank you, Jen. Figured it counted at least enough that you could make it onto the channel. And then I'm gonna have to do a washing video soon because I have that dinosaur sweater yarn that I frogged in an earlier video. And I've got that blue fin with the video that came out on Monday. And then I have what I'm doing right now, which is going to need to be washed as well. So maybe I'll do a washing day next week. I think that'll be good. Can you hear my wheel? It's kind of chattering a little bit, and I'm wondering if the microphone is picking it up. just normal wheel noises. It's not making any scary noises, but I feel like it adds to the ambiance. So I'm curious if the mic is picking it up or not. You can't hear it. Okay, that's fine. It's not the end of the world. Oh shoot, I had something to say, and then it escaped me. I'm not sure what it was. Something about videos, but I have no idea what it was. Oh well. I'm sure it'll come back to me eventually. So it looks like I've been streaming for about an hour. I'm wondering how much longer I should go on, because I can sit here and keep plying for quite a while. Got plenty of yarn to work my way through. But I could also take a break. Up to me, but I don't like making decisions. So we'll probably just sit here and spin for a bit longer. Or ply, not spin. You can see I've built up quite a bit of yarn on my bobbin. This is an 8-ounce bobbin, so it can fit up to 8 ounces. I think I might have fit more than that on there before if I'm really packing it on tight. But I find that plying is often takes up more space than the singles for the yarn, because when you ply, it's holding a little bit of air, and so it takes up a little bit more room. Up to you how long you want to stay. I know. I'm just not great at decision making, so I'm debating if we stop at an hour or if I go for an hour and a half. But I have enjoyed this. It's nice to hang out and get some work done with good company. Well, Jen, while I have you here, do you have any questions for me about any of my videos? Do you have requests about any videos you would like to see? Anything like that? I'm all ears. But I'm really happy with how this yarn is building up on the bobbin. I feel like we've done quite a bit of work, especially with how fine a lot of this yarn has been. Pretty pleased with that. We've done a good chunk of work today. And I've got Bear still sleeping next to me. He's been sleeping next to me for probably 3 or 4 hours at this point. He's a very, very sleepy dog. It's getting old. I got him back in 2015, and he was already fully grown. So he was a year or two old. So he's probably 10 now. So he's getting up there. Definitely, definitely slowing down a little bit, but still loves to run and play fetch and sniff. So he's not old, but he's definitely slowed down, and he certainly likes his sleep. If you're enjoying this video, remember to like it. And feel free to leave a comment if you have any requests or concerns or anything like that. Yeah, he's a bit of an old man, isn't he, Alex? Certainly not as young as he once was, but I don't mind that. He's mellowed out quite a bit since he was younger. Do I spin all my sample yarns on a drop spindle? No, I don't tend to like using drop spindles very much. I use them occasionally if I'm on the move or if it's really only a very small amount of yarn and I don't want to get a wheel set up. But typically, I much prefer spinning on a wheel. If I do samples, it's usually on the Lendrum, my treadle wheel, not my e-spinner. But I do not generally use spindles. And that's a personal preference. I know how to spin on them. I just don't enjoy it nearly as much as I like wheels. So I tend to stick with my spinning wheels. And my favorite is the e-spinner. It is a very, very nice machine. It's an expensive machine, but it's nice. Definitely worth the investment. It was nice for you to hang out, Alex. Thanks for saying goodbye. And I'm glad you could pop in and hang out with us for a little bit today. So something else that I do a lot of in regards to crafting is bullet journaling, which is a type of planner keeping in a dotted notebook where you kind of design it yourself. And I've heard some of my friends suggest making videos about that. So I think I might try that. Is there any interest in something like that that's a little bit, not quite a fiber art, but still applicable to everyday life? I'm thinking about maybe setting up some like project progress keeping pages so that, you know, it really applies to the craft. But I haven't fully decided on that. My wheel just malfunctioned a little bit. There we go. All right. I think it should be fine now. I just the control for the on-off switch fell out, which is kind of important. All right, we are finally done with the purple and green yarn. We've only got a little bit of this purple left. So I think I'm going to ply this on itself and then call that good for today's video. I used a drop spindle for my sample last week. It would be good to see bullet journaling on one of my lives. Okay, I could do that. Maybe do a live bullet journal video. Then we could talk about it, which might be good if you don't know a ton about bullet journaling. All right. Get this all attached. A little bit of a lump there, but it shouldn't come apart on me or anything like that. Jen, what video did I do a drop spindle in? I can't remember. I believe that I did it. I'm just not sure which video that is. Having a little bit of a tangly mess right now, but I am dealing with it. So that's why I'm a little bit less vocal right now than I have been. I think we're mostly through it. Yeah, we're good. We're good. Trying to think if I have any bullet journal stuff within reach I can show you, Jen. But I think everything has private information on it, so I probably shouldn't share that on the internet. All right, friends, we are almost done. I have this ball, which I'm plying from the center and outside of. And then once we're done with that, I think I'm going to wrap up this live video. Just because I'm starting to get a little tired. My throat is getting tired of talking. But I'm going to wrap up the rest of this plying. And we can either do another YouTube live and ply another bobbin, or maybe I had samples of the gray yarns. Oh, did I spindle on a spindle? If you saw it, then it must have happened, but I don't remember that. I thought I did it on my Lendrum spinning wheel. Yeah, I thought I did it on my Lendrum. Pretty sure I did. All right, we're coming to the end. That's all we have left. So I'm going to turn off my wheel and let it in. Had the samples of the gray yarns. Yeah. Yeah, I think that video, Jen, was I spun them on my Lendrum and then plied them on my e-spinner. Speaking of my e-spinner, I want to show you what we've done today. Look at all of that yarn we made. So I'm going to get this all skeined up, and then it's going to go in my wash me bin so that I know it needs to get washed. I think I'm going to wrap up here because I'm getting tired and I've been going for an hour and 10 minutes, but I hope you enjoyed this video. I know it was a little bit rambly. If you made it to the very end, if you watch this on the replay, then give it a thumbs up. Feel free to comment and subscribe if you would like to see more of this. I really enjoy hanging out with you. So if you enjoy hanging out with me, then feel free to subscribe. I will talk to you guys again very soon. I've got a video coming out on Friday, and I'm planning on doing a live stream like this every week. I don't know if that's going to work out. I hope it does, because I do like hanging out and doing some crafting with you. So yeah, I guess I'll wrap up here. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Thank you to Jen and Alex for chatting with me in the chat. And I will talk to you again soon. Bye, friends.